place in room 312 at the Black Bear Casino Hotel, correct?
Yes.
And in attendance at this meeting was yourself, Officer Keenan, and Corey Hyde, correct?
Yes, it was.
Now, at this meeting, you said you were willing to do whatever it takes to get that casino license, didn't you?
Yes, I did say that, but I didn't mean it as a bribe. This was before everyone had started jamming these accusations in my mouth.
But that was right after Officer Keenan asked what you were willing to do to make this happen, wasn't it?
Yes, but I wasn't talking about a bribe. I mean, it's just a common phrase most people say.
Now, Officer Keenan told you that you would need to make some people happy in order to secure your bid for this new casino license, correct?
Yes, he did.
But he never explained to you what he meant by this, did he?
No, he just said that you need to make people happy.
You then asked if Chase Covington is one of the people you would need to make happy, didn't you?
I just thought I needed to meet with him.
So then you said that you would like to pitch my ideas to Chase, if you know what I mean, didn't you?
Yes, this is when I thought I could get everything straightened out by meeting with Chase Covington.
But that was followed by Officer Keenan saying you'll need to pitch more than ideas, correct?
Yeah, I was really taken back by that statement. I didn't understand what he meant.
But you never objected to him saying this, correct?
For the most part, I don't like confrontation. So when he said that, I just kind of went along with it.
Now, then, you, in getting your first casino through the Midlands Gambling Commission, you would know a lot about what goes on in the Midlands Gambling Commission, correct?
I spent a lot of my time at the casino, so I know a little bit, but I wouldn't say a lot.
So, but it would be fair to say that in a way you would know how to work the bureaucracy in order to get this next casino license, correct?
I mean, by submitting my proposal, I know that much.
And you know what it would take to get this second casino license, correct?
I would assume that it would take a good proposal.
So that's why the last thing you said before leaving that March 31st meeting is thanks for greasing the wheels, isn't it?
Yes, I just meant that by making our approach towards the proposal and the vote to be more smooth.
Now I'd like to shift gears a little bit and switch to the meeting that took place on April 13th, 2015. Now between this March 31st meeting and this April 13th meeting, you had no contact with Officer Keenan, correct?
No, I did not.
So it is on your own initiative that you decided to email Daniel Lloyd, head of security of the Black Bear, to make security arrangements for this upcoming meeting, correct?
Yes, for the reasons I discussed earlier.
May I approach the bench and retrieve tender evidence?
Yes, what are you looking for?
The email that he sent to Daniel. Thank you. May I approach the witness?
Yes, you may.
May I please see what she's showing the witness?
You've already seen it, it was entered into.
I didn't see it.
Would you like to?
You don't have to show opposing counsel, it's already been entered into.
Thank you, Counsel.
Now, this is an email that you sent to Daniel Hoyt, correct?
Yes, it is.
And it's sent on April 12th, 2015, correct?
That's what it says?
And it is discussing security arrangements for the meeting on April 13th, correct?
Yes, it does.
Now, you testified about this email earlier, and in this email you say discretion is of utmost importance, don't you?
Yes, I didn't want Shannon Stark to steal my ideas.
However, you go through a lot in this meeting to make sure one person would never steal your ideas.
Well, a second proposal is a very big deal. I didn't want anyone even hearing what my ideas were to give to Chase Covington.
So it's your testimony today that you did all of this because you were so worried about Shannon Stark learning your ideas, correct?
Yes.
But in this email to Daniel Hoy, your head of security, who you trust a lot, you never mentioned anything about Shannon Stark, correct?
No, I didn't. I don't actually trust Daniel that much.
Further, well, but you do tell him to sweep everyone, including Corey Hyde, correct?
Yes.
Specifically, you mentioned Corey Hyde.
Yes, I didn't know if he was a double agent now either.
But Corey Hyde was not working with Shannon Stark, correct?
I had no idea of knowing that.
May I approach the witness and return to the bench?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, I'd like to switch gears, and I'd like to talk about the bribe itself for a minute. Now, you never discussed with Officer Keenan how you were planning on conducting this bribe, correct?
No, it's not really his business.
So you never discussed with Officer how you were planning on putting money into a briefcase or anything like that, correct?
No, I didn't. I didn't really want him around after he just kept forcing me to do this.
The same Officer Keenan that you are alleging entrapped you, you didn't want around, correct?
No, when people just keep telling you these things over and over again, you don't want them around, but somehow he just kept showing up and forcing it farther and farther down.
In fact, you wanted to keep Officer Keenan as far away from this bribe as possible, didn't you?
I tried to, but I failed.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness with the document after showing it to opposing counsel?
Yes, you may.
Would Your Honor's like a courtesy copy?
Sure, we'll take one. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel.
Now, this is an email conversation between yourself and Corey Hyde, correct?
Yes, it is.
And your statements come from your email account, correct?
Yes.
And this is a fair and accurate copy of this email transaction, correct?
Looks to be, yes.
Your Honor, I now move to admit prosecution's proposed Exhibit 4 into evidence.
Any objections?
Yes, I would like to object to hearsay on that document.
Counsel?
Your Honor, the statements of Avery Bancroft are not hearsay under Rule 801D2 because Avery Bancroft is the party opponent in this case. Furthermore, the statements of Corey Hyde are not being used to prove the truth of the matter asserted and are not hearsay.
Okay, so what you're saying is the email, the second email that's from Mr. Bancroft is not because it's a statement by the party opponent, and that the first email is not being offered for its truth value.
Yes, actually, I also, under Rule 801D2D, Corey Hyde is an employee of Mr. Bancroft, and that is an exception under hearsay. I'm sorry, that is not hearsay.
Okay, do you have a response on those grounds, counsel?
Opposing counsel is correct. Opposing counsel is correct in the fact that these statements can be used since they are the statements of the party representative. But I'd like to elicit that this statement is going to be used for the truth of the matter asserted, and that opposing counsel shouldn't be able to use this statement because they're going to prove this to their overall issue. And
If it's a statement by a party opponent, does it matter if it's going to its truth value, counsel?
well, I would feel it matters going to the.
Are they allowed to use opposing party statements for their truth value?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then your objection will be overruled. It will be accepted as People's Exhibit 4, 5,
4.
4,
Yes, Your Honor.
and you may proceed.
Now, in this email, you say to Corey Hyde, are you sure you're okay with Keenan coming, don't you?
That is what it says, yes.
And this is the same Officer Keenan that we are here today because you are alleging entrapped you, correct?
Yes, like I said, I didn't want him around, but he still came.
Okay. May I approach the witness and tender this to the bench?
We'll just keep the courtesy copy and you can have
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel.
Now, in fact, you went a step farther and you emailed Chase Covington with the same idea, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness of the document after showing it to opposing counsel?
Yes.
Would Your Honors like a courtesy copy?
Yes, please.
Thank you again, counsel.
Now, this is an email conversation between yourself and Ms. Covington, correct?
Yes.
And it takes place on April 15th, 2015, correct?
Yes, that's what it says.
And this is a fair and accurate copy of this email, correct?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I now move to admit prosecution's proposed Exhibit 5 into evidence.
Any objections?
Yes, Your Honor, I do have an objection. The
Okay.
opposing counsel showed me this document. I seen the email on the bottom that was from Chase Covington. That email was hearsay. I'll only allow the email at the top to be used.
May I respond?
Yes.
Your Honor, under Rule 801D2E, this is not hearsay because we are proving that Chase Covington and Avery Bancroft are co-conspirators.
Council, what we're gonna do is what we've done with all the prior statements. We'll reserve these until right before closing arguments, so your objection is noted, and the document will be provisionally admitted depending on what happens during the Owens proceedings.
Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. Now, Chase Covington says to you, I think Keenan knows about our call. Something is up, doesn't he?
Yes.
And you replied, in your response, you say, but do we really need Keenan for this, don't you?
Another way for me to not have Keenan around, but he still came.
So, this is the same Officer Keenan we are here today because you are alleging entrapped you, correct?
Yes, he kept pressuring me.
And you didn't want him around, correct?
When he keeps pressuring me like that, no, I didn't.
May I approach the witness and tender this to the bench?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Bancroft, you are here today to hear the entirety of the trial, correct?
Yes, I was.
And you heard Corey Hyde testify, correct?
Yes, I did.
And you heard Corey Hyde say that on March 31st, when the bribe was being talked about, you were just smiling and nodding along, correct?
Yes, I did say that, or he did say that.
Thank you. I have no further questions for this witness.
Any redirect, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor, I do have redirect.
Okay.
How much time do I have left?
A minute 23.
Now, proceed.
Yes, you may.
Now, Mr. Bancroft, I'd just like to give you a chance to explain yourself on some of the statements that the prosecution came to make. Now, when you said you would do whatever it takes, what did you mean by that?
Well, I didn't mean by anything illegal. I just thought, I mean, I'm willing to do a lot to get my second casino. I mean, this is what my father wanted, I wanted. Hopefully I could leave my children with this second casino, but I didn't do anything illegal.
And when you said thank you for gracing the wheels, what did you mean by those statements?
As I said earlier, I was just giving them an expression that now we're going along smoothly with the proposal. Just Reese makes things smooth.
And please explain to the court why you didn't want Officer Keenan around throughout your business.
He just kept overwhelmingly pressuring me over and over and over again whenever he was around. I tried to get rid of him, but he wouldn't even leave me alone.
Please explain why you sent your head of security, Danny Hoyer, an email about discretion.
As I said before, Shannon Stark, there were rumors from sources that I had heard that Shannon Stark was trying to steal my ideas. So I upped the security so that she wouldn't be able to.
Thank you, Mr. Bancroft. I have no further questions.
Any recross based on that brief redirect?
Yes, Your Honor,
All
I do.
right.
It is your testimony today that you didn't trust Daniel Hoy, correct?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor. That doesn't have anything to do with what I redirected him on. The only thing I asked about Daniel Hoy to Mr. Bancroft was that he emailed Daniel Hoy about having a discretionary meeting for April 13th. I didn't ask Mr. Bancroft if he trusts Daniel Hoy at all.
Counsel, do you have a response?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to ask a question about that email, and it is implied through sending this email, Mr. Bancroft's feelings about Mr. Hoy.
I agree. If you think that after a few questions, opposing counsel has failed to make the connection to the email or what she's asking the witness, please feel free to re-object, but you're overruled for now.
Yes, Your Honor. Now, Mr. Bancroft, you testified in court today that you trust Mr. Hoy, you don't trust Mr. Hoy, you don't trust Mr. Hoy, correct?
I do not trust Mr. Hoy that much.
But you still emailed him about secret security measures for an upcoming meeting?
Well, he's the head of my security. He's the only one that can do it.
But even though you don't trust him, you still want ahead with these plans, correct?
It's the only way I could.
And it is also your testimony today that you don't trust Corey Hyde anymore, correct?
Yes, after somebody forces me like he did and tries to throw me under the bus with a bribe, I'm not going to like them very much afterward.
But you still went ahead emailing Mr. Hyde and having Mr. Hyde schedule meetings for you, correct?
Yes, I did.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Any counsel? Any redirect based on that?
No, Your Honor, I just asked that the witness be excused.
You may be. Does the defense have any further witnesses to call, evidence present, motions?
No, Your Honor.
Well, then I'll ask you now, if you would like to handle the hearsay statements from Chase Covington, or if you want to deal with them after a break and before closing.
I'll deal with them after the break and before closing comments.
Let's do that. We'll take 5 minutes. We'll come back at 25.
No. Don't do it. Tell them I said don't do it.